Chutzpah's struggle. On Wednesday, James W. Van Braun, a racist, an anti-Semite, a miserable and maniacal man, entered the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum and murdered Stephen Johns, a heroic security guard. The tragedy is a painful one because this wonderful, gentle giant lost his life. The tragedy is even more painful because it's shocking. It's shocking for a World War II veteran to enter and storm a Holocaust museum. It's shocking for bloodshed to occur in a place that is devoted to tolerance. But even more shocking is the craziness of it all. James W. Van Braun is a well-known anti-Semite. He wrote a book, if you could call it a book, entitled Kill the Best Gentiles. It's a book about the quote-unquote Jewish plot against civilization. And to give you a sense of what this book is about, let me just take a short quote from it, where Van Braun writes, "However, the only human parasite that embeds itself in the sinews of other humans is the Jew. International Jewry is a virulent, organized, powerful, enormously wealthy group and holds in utter contempt the Gentile nations that their genocidal God has commanded them to destroy." It's crazy, isn't it? But that's anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is irrational. And many of those who are prominent anti-Semites act in irrational ways. That's why Wilhelm Marr, the father of modern anti-Semitism, who in 1879 founds the Anti-Semitic League. So Wilhelm Marr, the father of modern anti-Semitism, was married actually to 3 different Jewish women. It's crazy. I guess I'll leave that one for the psychotherapist to interpret and figure out. Or think about some of the themes of anti-Semitism. If you look at some of the themes even starting in the Bible, Paro, when he tries to initiate the Egyptian people into anti-Semitism, he speaks to them and says, "Hinei am b'nei Yisrael rav atzum mimenu." Behold, the Jewish people are stronger and more powerful than us. Paro, when he articulates his anti-Semitic thoughts and worries, he talks about the Jewish people being too powerful, being overwhelming, people that he is frightened of. When Haman instigates anti-Semitism in the Persian Empire, his argument is, "Yeshno am echad mifozar mufarad bein ha'amim." There is a nation that is just scattered and dispersed amongst the peoples. And Haman, when he is arguing and articulating for anti-Semitism, what he says is that essentially the Jewish people are not worth living, are not worth having, because they're so strange and so different and so small, they should just be wiped out. And sometimes what's fascinating is that in the demonology of anti-Semitism, these 2 very different themes become combined. So let's say in Nazi Germany, they talk about the Jews being all-powerful and taking many of the themes from the protocols of the elders of Zion about how the Jews are manipulating the entire world and they're manipulating the capitalist world and the communist world. And so the Jews are these all-powerful supermen of whom they are frightened. And at the same time, they consider the Jews to be Untermenschen, to be subhumans, to be animalistic beings that simply aren't worthy of living. And the Nazis irrationally embraced 2 very different myths about the Jews. Myths that are actually contradictory to each other. That the Jews are enormously powerful and overwhelming, and the Jews aren't even really human beings. It's crazy, but that's anti-Semitism. That's how anti-Semitism is. It's irrational. Or thinking about Holocaust denial, one of the areas that Van Braun excelled in. Now, like many Holocaust deniers, Van Braun denied the Holocaust and at the same time was upset that Hitler didn't finish the job. Now, this is true of many Holocaust deniers, including the president of Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, that Holocaust deniers very often celebrate the precise event that they deny. They look forward to future Holocausts, even though they deny the Holocaust in the past. It's irrational, but that's anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is irrational because the hatred of the anti-Semites overpower logic. Now, there are many different theories as to why anti-Semitism occurs. Where does it come from? So some say that it's theologically based. It's based on the fact that the Jews have rejected Christianity and Islam. The Jews are Christ killers and they're infidels. There are psychological theories of anti-Semitism. The Jews are scapegoats. There are social theories of anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is a form of xenophobia. There are economic theories of anti-Semitism, that because of the Jewish economic success, people are envious and jealous of them. And all of the theories ring true to some extent. But I think underlying all of them is a much larger issue. And indeed, all of these theories see an aspect of it. Anti-Semitism is based on Jewish chutzpah. And indeed, the very core of Jewish identity is a form of chutzpah. The name Israel derives from the name given to Jacob after a struggle with the angel. And the angel turns to Jacob and says that his name is going to be Yisrael, ki sarita im Elokim va'anashim vatuchal. Because you have struggled with man and with God, and you have succeeded. And that this verse, by the way, is understood by the Midrashim not just to be about Jacob and about his life and about his struggle, but it's meant to be about the Jews throughout history. The Jews have had the chutzpah to struggle and to survive and to thrive. And that is precisely what enrages the anti-Semites. How is it? How is it that the Jews who are downtrodden have the chutzpah not to be meek? How is it that the Jews who are outcasts have the chutzpah to achieve and succeed? How is it that the Jews who are so different have the chutzpah to refuse to assimilate? And because of Jewish chutzpah, anti-Semitism flourishes. It is an irrational reaction to the fact that the Jews don't know their place in the world. And the truth is, we've never known our place in the world. It starts with Jacob. Now, the chutzpah of Jewish survival is such that anti-Semites believe that we should surrender our dreams, we should surrender our identity, and we should even surrender our religion. And I know it's chutzpah if we don't do that. But I must tell Mr. Van Brun and those like him that I will not stop this particular form of chutzpah. I will not stop Jacob's struggle. I will not stop struggling for Judaism. I will not stop struggling for Tikkun Olam. And I will certainly not stop struggling against anti-Semitism. Jewish identity is about chutzpah. If you want to react to it with irrationality, all I can do is continue to struggle.
Thank you.